Hey guys, Silver Shady here, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemonday. And today we're going to be profiling out the Alolan Ninetales deck that I've been testing out. Honestly, there's a couple of different ways that people can build this deck. I think that's honestly one of the better things about it. But either way, let's just fucking get into it. Who wants to hear me talk anyway? Alright, we got 4 copies of Alolan Vulpix. Alolan Vulpix is actually going to be your ideal starter, which is why you're going to want to run the full playset of it. Because for absolutely no energy, you can use Beacon, which allows you to search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then you shuffle your deck afterward. Yeah, it's just an insanely good first turn, it's a good attack if you go second. Really helps you set up. Or you can force your opponent to play an end by doing that. Either way, whatever works. Next up, we run 3 copies of Alolan Ninetales GX. I could definitely see someone making the case to run a 4th copy of Alolan Ninetales. However, 9 times out of 10, you're actually going to lose a Vulpix right off the bat, because it's going to be sitting there using Beacon. Your opponent will knock that out, and then you're going to be left with your other 3 Alolan Vulpix that are going to evolve into your Alolan Ninetales. But Alolan Ninetales GX onto the actual point of the deck. 210 HP, so nice big bulky water type body. Weakness to metal, so not really that important. I mean, unless you're facing Metagross or Solgaleo, but in that case you're probably going to be one-shot anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. And then it's got a 1-star retreat cost. For a double colorless energy, it does Ice Blade. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and naturally you don't apply weakness and resistance to bench. That is actually going to be your primary attack, from what I've found. Mostly soften things up, and then you just stream knockouts, or try to stream 3 knockouts with Blizzard Edge and win the game. That's your ideal win condition there. And Blizzard Edge being 2 water and a single colorless energy, doing 160 damage, and you discard 2 energy attached to Alolan Ninetales. Very similar in, just in general, very similar to Lapras. The only difference is discarding the 2 energy rather than not being able to attack next turn. Yeah. And then lastly, the GX attack, which I have to say has got to be my favorite GX attack that I've used so far, is Ice Path GX. You get to move all damage counters on Alolan Ninetales GX to your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's a one-sided damage change. And in all honesty, at first when I saw this, I didn't think much of the GX attack. Having tested the deck, having 210 HP, with all the other options we have available to us, when you get to that point where you use Ice Path GX, 9 times out of 10 you get a knockout. And if not, you really hurt your opponent's strategy. So just a really, really powerful GX attack there. Moving on to our secondary attackers, we run 2 copies of Glaceon EX. I tried a couple of different ways to build this deck. I did try the Alolan Muck line in here. I did not like it, actually, because late game it actually hurt you, as I tend to use Tapu Lele later on in the game and Shaman early. So I didn't like that build. I did try with the Alolan Sandslash line. I found that draw power just wasn't enough. I tried Octillery, and 9 times out of 10 I had too many cards in my hand to use it. I also noticed that, at least in my local area, there is a lot of evolution-based decks running around right now, Trash Avalanche being a big contender there. So having 2 copies of Glaceon just really, really does help with those matchups, as Pokemon Ranger really isn't seeing that much play right now. Again, at least in my local area. But and then Glaceon, naturally, just to recap, main attack you're going to be using is Crystal Ray for 70 damage, and you prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to Glaceon by evolution Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. We also run 2 copies of Manaphy EX. Its ability Aqua Tube is really nice. Anything has a water energy attached to it has free retreat. So, just in general, really, really good ability there to have. And that's all we play it for, too. And then we also run 2 copies of Tapu Lele and 2 copies of Shaman EX for draw power. And Disruptive Cat. Must you? Come here. Must you live up to your namesake? Go. Come on. Get out of here. Right up under the camera. Sorry about that, guys. That was Disruptive Cat Velcro being disruptive. Anyway. Alright. And onto our supporters, we run 3 copies of Sycamore. 3 copies of N. What the hell? 1 copy of Lysander. I was not talking to you, Disruptive Cat. 1 copy of Lily, and 1 copy of Professor Kukui. In testing, I've actually been finding that 3 copies of Sycamore and 3 copies of N is actually preferred, with Tapu Lele being in format. Because usually, that 4th copy of Sycamore was always just to be able to hit it, which you can just search it out with Lele, so it's kind of redundant to have that 4th copy. So, this is kind of a standard line of supporters I've been going with lately. Moving on to our stadiums, we run 3 copies of Rough Seas. You could run Brooklet Hill, but between the number of the amount of Pokemon search we have between Vulpix and then Ultra Ball and Dive Ball, I felt that Rough Seas would actually be a better choice in this deck. So, and then for our tools, we run 3 copies of Choice Band. This is just to help Alolan Ninetales hit that 190 number, which allows it to take knockouts on most things. Annoyingly enough, even after a Professor Kukui and a Choice Band, you're still going to be 10 damage shy of knocking out a Darkrai, which really screws with math, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, and is really annoying. But onto our actual items, we run 4 copies of Ultra Ball and 2 copies of Dive Ball. Initially, I had tried Level Ball in this list, but that was also when I was doing either the Alolan Muck or the Alolan Sandslash line. Dive Ball just has far more targets, so it's just the better option all around, in my opinion. We also play 3 copies of Trainer's Mail for consistency. 4 copies of Aqua Patch. Wow, Dive Patch. Wow. 4 copies of Aqua Patch. I'm thinking Dive Ball for some reason. 1 copy of Field Blower for tool removal. We run 4 copies of Versus Seeker. And then 1 copy of Switch. This 1 copy of Switch I initially had as an escape rope. I didn't really like the escape rope in this list, hence why I swapped it out to the Switch, which kind of just as useful, but you can go back and forth on that one. You really can. Lastly, we're going to get to our energy here. We play 3 copies of Double Colorless Energy and 8 Basic Water. Most decks that I've seen have kind of been flipping back and forth between 4 Double Colorless and 7 Water, and then, interchanging between them. I've just found that this is the most consistent way, because 9 times out of 10, your Double Colorless isn't really going to be all that useful unless you're attacking with Glaceon, or if you're using it essentially just to discard with your Blizzard Edge. So, all in all, I really do like this deck. This is definitely one of my favorite decks. I still think I like Sylveon more, just in general. I like how fast it is. This deck is pretty quick, though, as well. So, either way. Here is your code card for the week, guys. It's a pack of Guardians Rising. Alright, anyway, so yeah, that's the deck list for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.